Okay, we're gonna finish off our granola bars and get them into the oven. So right now I have my granola and cashews toasting, and we're gonna lower the heat to 300. Ooh, this is hot. The bars themselves don't need to cook at such a high temperature. Let's put all of our grains. Save this baby for later. I'm gonna use this guy again. Okay. So now what you have to do is you have to get the mixture to stick to each other. So you can use, if you're not going to bake this again, you can use something like a nut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, peanut butter, or you can do a melted butter. And then you can add honey as well. So we're going to do melted butter here. Let's get our little pan going. I have 2 tablespoons of butter in the pan, and then we're going to add a little bit of honey to it. Probably about 2 tablespoons as well. There's 1, 2. While that's warming up, I'm going to take a couple dates and chop them up. And the dates will add some nice sweetness. Dates they come pitted and they come non-pitted, so make sure if you're going to chop them up like this, you definitely get the pitted version. Dates are really sweet. They're very high in natural sugar, but remember that it's still sugar, so you still have to watch how much you eat. You don't want to just sit here and eat dates. But you can make date sugar. You can do all kinds of really neat things. And that's probably something that would be great in your granola if you wanted to do a date sugar. So add those in. And how about something tart, like some cranberries? I have a little bit of cranberries left here. Finish those off. Maybe a little bit. I have some slivered roasted almonds. Maybe we'll add some almonds in here. Butter's starting to melt. I'm not going to put any raisins. You can add a dash of cinnamon if you would like. I add cinnamon to everything. You can add a pinch of salt. That will help season up the oats. You can also add pinch of vanilla. Don't want too much vanilla in there. Get this tossed a little bit. My honey is melting. What else could we add? You can add some cacao bits if you want. These are actually cacao nibs. Just add a couple. Those little natural chocolate chips. If you wanted to make it like a chocolate, you could add some carob powder. This does not have too much sweetener. It's a natural occurring chocolate, and it's actually naturally caffeine free. So this would be something good if you want to make like a chocolate bar, and especially if you were going to add peanut butter to it. I would think the kids would go a little nutso over that. I think that would be great. All right, so let's get our honey and butter all together. So as you can see, the 1, 2, 3 of this is get your oats, roast them up with your nuts, and then add in some dried fruit. Figure out what your binder is going to be, butter, honey, maple syrup, melt it all down. Or if you're going to go with without baking it, maybe a nut butter and honey or nut butter and maple syrup. If you want, you can add a little bit more sugar to it. If you're going to add some sugar, I would add a natural sugar. I'm going to add a very little bit of my coconut sugar. I don't think you need a lot at all. I think the berries and the honey in the butter are going to do all the sweetening we need. So let's get the butter and honey. I don't want to lose any drop. And I already have a little bread pan, butter. So you're gonna work this. Try to get all the oats coated and the nuts so that when they go in the pan, they're gonna stick together. We're gonna get a nice crispy bake on them. A lot of kids are having a hard time, and a lot of moms are having a hard time with school lunches. Thank goodness my daughter's out of this phase, because I don't know what I would do if my daughter couldn't bring peanut butter, because she doesn't like bologna, and I don't like giving her bologna sandwiches. So I know from the allergy perspective, and I do definitely understand the risks of someone that has a nut allergy. However, it makes it very difficult to pack sometimes for those that are not allergic some good snacks. So this is something that you can create for your kids. Look at that. There's no peanuts in here. If you didn't want to add the cashews, you don't have to. Whatever the rules are in your school, if you just want to keep almonds or keep the nuts out completely, you can. This is going to probably make 4 really good bars. I'm going to pop it in the oven for a little longer. We'll see how long that takes. I'll check back with you in a little bit. So excited. I've bought a couple bags of granola in my day, and when I eat them, they're fine, they're yummy. However, I just feel that they're not fresh. I feel that there's just maybe some oils or maybe some stuff that I don't want in the ingredients, and I just feel that it's not the best use of what I have in my pantry. So instead of relying on store-bought granola, why not make it yourself? Thought it was so difficult, but it's actually pretty easy, and you can tweak it to whatever is on sale, in season, whatever left in your pantry. It's a really great way to clean out some of these nuts and nut butters and fruits that you have lying around. Okay, same with granola bars. I like to use old-fashioned oats. And these are nice organic old-fashioned oats. And I'm just going to make a cup. You can double the recipe, please. If you have a bigger family, double it up. And granola can be kept in like a ball jar. You can, let's see, I'm going to add some almonds. You can keep it in, it's great to travel. You can keep it with you when you're going on a road trip. You can put it in your kid's lunch. You can have it in the morning with a nut milk, and you can have it for breakfast. You can add some other stuff to it and eat it as a trail mix. I mean, granola is just so versatile. It kind of gets overlooked, I think, sometimes. Okay, so pretty much it's a 1, 2, 3 recipe, and I know you guys love my 1, 2, 3 recipes because they're just so simple. So you take some oats and add whatever nuts you want to add to them. So what did I add? I don't really have too many. I have all huge almonds, but I'm not going to add any of those to it. I added, I think that's going to be it. We're not going to add too much to it. You can add dried fruit, but you have to add it to the end or after it's done toasting, because while it's baking, it's just going to congeal and like smither, smush, all that fun words that you can think of, the fruit. So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how to bind it together. Are you going to put honey on it? Are you going to add some oil? Some people have recipes where they add canola oil, safflower oil, I think I saw that on the package, olive oil. I don't want to add a lot of oil, so I think I'm just going to try adding a little bit of honey. You know, I'm just going to add it right to it. I think if you wanted to, you could add silly little honey. I think you could add the same butter honey recipe as we did in the bars, but you just want to toss it a little bit longer. You can add shredded coconut. A lot of people like that. I'm just trying to coat all of these. I just don't know if I really want oil in my granola. but what I'm finding is it's kind of common. So here's another reason why you might want to make it at home. Now maybe the oil helps it toast, but we're going to try it without. So if you add enough honey, it's going to coat everything. You can add some cinnamon to it. If you wanted to add some cocoa powder, you can add some carob powder or cacao powder, either one, cinnamon, nutmeg. You can add, let's see, you can add a little sugar if you wanted to. But I don't think we're going to add that at this step. Granola is made to mostly just be your oats, your nuts, and then your binder. So this looks good. What I'm going to do is put it on a baking sheet. And when you put it in the oven, you want to make sure you toss it around every couple minutes, every 15 minutes. If you're going to bake it long and slow at like a 250 or 300 temperature, you're going to have to cook this about an hour. If you're going to cook it at about 350, probably about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If you don't want to have crumbly, loose granola, don't mess with it much, and then it'll be pretty coarse and chunky, so you can actually like pick it up and eat it. I like to make the most out of my oven, so I already have the granola bars in. Let's see how hot this is. Almost sticky. And we'll check back on it. I'll show you how we finish it off and package it up. I'll probably put some in some bowl jars for tomorrow. Easy breezy. The results of my granola is a very fast, high temperature, or I call it high, 350 for granola speaking. It's difficult, so if you're going to do a 350 bake time, make sure you watch it. I would probably go down to a 250 oven. What I did was when I saw this come together pretty brown and I wasn't paying as close attention as I should if I'm going to be cooking it at 350. The grains just toast up way too fast. So I redid it again, and this time I added the olive oil. I wanted to see what it would change with the cooking time, what it would change with the flavor. I cooked it at 250, took a little bit longer, maybe 25 minutes, half hour. It can go up to an hour depending on the toast that you want, and I just think the flavor is really good. I did add the pinch of salt and the honey, same as I did with this batch. I just added a touch of the olive oil just to see what difference it would make. Now at this point, once it comes out of the oven and it's cool, then you want to add if you want to add raisins, or if you want to add chopped dates or cranberries or cherries or pomegranate, you can add your dried fruit. I want to just mention, just take notice that cranberries, a lot of the cherries and pomegranate seeds that you find in the commercial packaged aisles at the grocery store are often sweetened with a whole lot of sugar. So just watch how much of the, not artificial, but of the non-fruit sugar that you're adding into your granola. It's not that you can't, just maybe balance it out. I know organic natural raisins are just raisins. They're not sweetened, but sometimes the cranberries, a more bitter, sour fruit, might have a little bit of sugar in it to try to balance it out. So just pay attention to it. Okay, then I made my granola bars, and I made them in this little bread pan because I made just a 1 cup, just a one-person batch, and I let it sit for about 3 hours. I let it cool really, really well. You can let it sit overnight. It's not going to hurt anything. So if you bake these before you go to bed, just let them cool off, and use your knife to try to, kind of pry them away. A lot of people put parchment paper underneath. I'm not a big fan of cooking on paper if I don't have to. In fact, I never ever do it. Stoneware, and maybe if you got a stoneware bread pan or another smaller baker, maybe of this size in the stoneware, that would make really, really good granola bars. So keep out for that. But pull it out, and this particular bar wasn't solid crispy. I could have baked it another maybe 10 minutes if I wanted it to be hard. But I wanted it to be chewy. I wanted everything to have a nice taste, and I didn't want it to go way too far to be way too toasted. So here are my results. I just cut them. Here, I'll show you. See, they're not, oh, that one just broke. They're not so hard that you can't bite them. They're actually probably just going to crumble, and they're going to have a little sticky consistency to it. And you're going to play. The more you try, the more you know how you like them, how long it takes. But I can say that I let these sit out, and my daughter got into them, and she really liked them. Her comments were maybe chop up the cashews a little bit more so that they weren't such big pieces sitting in the bars. It kind of happens to make a break in the piece. So you might want to chop up your nuts before you put them in there. And I just think they're a great additive. You can pop them in, maybe wrap them in a wax paper, or put them in a plastic baggie, or put them in individual glass containers, whatever you want. Put them in your lunchbox. Have one for breakfast, have one for a snack. It's a great pairing of grains, nuts, and fruit. Thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next